because now we can talk about masks. A year ago, I could not tell you this story. It was still considered
Why
classified.
could you say it now?
Because they have allowed it now. My husband, Tony, had started some R&D on masks early on, 10 years before me when he was in disguise. When I came into disguise, that was starting to produce some fruit. And one of the first masks that came out of production was for me. It was an African-American man. It looked good. It looked fabulous. And gloves. So I showed it to my office director. We took it to the head of CIA, Bill Webster. He said, "Oh my God, let's take it to the White House." I said, "I can't. It looks good, but I can't really walk it and talk it. This is not realistic. It's just to show you the capability." He said, "Well, then go make one that you can wear." So we did. We made a second one that turned me into a younger, prettier, better coiffed woman. I loved this mask. I wanted to take it home but they wouldn't let me. So Judge Webster liked it, and he said, "Well, let's take it to the White House." I said, "I don't have any idea. I have nothing." He said, "Don't worry, just, come with me." And so we did. I went to his house. I was met at the door by the judge and his dog. The dog didn't like me, barked at me incessantly. I went in the powder room. I put on the mask. I got everything right. Came out. Dog loved me. They say dogs don't like hats, but evidently dogs like masks. So we went to the White House. We got stuck outside of the Oval Office because they were going long. And there was like a 10-minute period I was a little paranoid. I'd never worn one of these masks before in public, and you get nervous. Nobody paid any attention, of course. So I relaxed. We went in the Oval Office. There was a circle of us: Brent Scowcroft, Bob Gates, John Sununu, Judge Webster, me, and another briefer. And I went first. I was the first one. So I showed him some photographs of disguises we had done for him when he was chief of disguise. We said, you might remember these. He did. I said, "So I'm here to show you the next level." He said, "So show me." I said, "Well, I'm wearing it, and I'll take it off and show it to you." And he said, No, don't take it off." And he got up. He came out. He walked and he looked. He went behind me. He was checking it out. He went back. He sat down and he said, "Take it off." So I just peeled off my face. John Sununu wasn't paying any attention to me because he was making notes. He was going to go next. He had some things he wanted to say to the president. He glanced up. He almost fell off his chair. He was a big man, and he was startled. Bush really liked it. Bush was smiling. So we talked a few minutes. It was a successful deployment. I was the first one to leave. I went out to play with the dog, Millie, and her puppies. And the White House photographer came out. She had been in the meeting, going around, ka-ching, ka-ching, taking pictures. She came out and said, "What did you do? What was that? What was that?" I said, "I can't tell you." She said it was classified. So it was a successful briefing. 10 years later, I got a copy of her photograph, that they had airbrushed the mask out. And this is the only photograph I ever got. So I'm sitting in front of the president's desk with my hand in the air, holding the mask, showing it to him, and they airbrushed it out. So the picture in my library, I don't know what you would think I'm doing, but people say that's...
They airbrushed the mask out.
Yeah, it was classified. They gave me the picture of me.
I've seen the picture, but you can't tell.
You're seeing the recent pictures because now we can talk about masks. A year ago, I could not tell you this story. It was still considered classified.
Why could you say it now?
Because they have allowed it now. Which to me, what does that mean? Sources and methods are classified. This evidently is no longer classified. Perhaps they're not using these anymore. Or maybe they've gotten so good that what I'm saying has nothing to do with the new ones. I think that's more like it.
The whole world's a stage and you're in the audience, and everything you see on the stage is fraudulent.
If you were born into a satanic druid pagan family who happens to be the ruler of several nations, what role would you pick so your family maintains supremacy? Would you set up a blackmailing honeypot like Prince Andrew and Prince Harry? Or be a trained actor and go down the social engineering path like Prince Edward?
Like, for instance, take these characters as an example. Freddie Mercury died in 91. When was Nirvana just about to blow up and take over the world and be the biggest thing? It's like that character, Freddie Mercury, it was obviously written in the script, like, he's too big for him to play both characters. So there's obviously a little overlap, but they had to kill off that character for him to take on a new role, a bigger role, the voice of a generation, and he weren't going to play that role for long because they killed that character off after a few years as well. And you'll notice that a lot with these so-called fake characters, where a lot of the time, that, as I said many times before, that die young. The 27 Club, Kurt Cobain's a great example. He's in the 27 Club, and I'm going to do a video on that, exposing that's completely fake. I've already, matched up at least 3 people from that. So, but in terms of how they do it and why they do it, you've got to remember these people are bred for this. They're primed for this at an early age. They're master actors, they get taught vocals, music, sports, and obviously they get all the pushes because everything's controlled, and they make stars out of these characters and stuff, and then they kill them off, or, they use them, it's a great way of making money too, but it's more, as I've said before, I think it's more about focus and attention and emotion and energy, that sort of thing. So, but, as I said, just scratching the surface on this thing, it's quite incredible, really. So I got this and one more part of this little Edward mini-series and then go wrap that up, but no doubt it'll pop up again at some point. Look at the teeth, yeah? Look at those 2 front teeth. They do not move now. Think about that, different ages there. Here's a younger picture of Edward. Still going to be a bit older than the Freddie picture, but again, look at the teeth. It's just so cool. So I had to see the final test if Trey Parker matched up with Prince Edward, and again he did. And I know a lot of people don't agree with these videos, and that's fine. It took me a while to get my head around it, but the more I started digging into this thing, I mean, 1 or 2 you could say is a coincidence. The royal aspect of it is what intrigues me the most, and I actually think it's quite an important subject. So, this is something that I'm going to look at. I've got a few more videos. This is the final Edward video in this series, but no doubt Edward will pop up again because I know that he plays a few politicians as well, so I've got some matches for him there. There's other people that are checking voices and doing other research on this and matching other connections up. I never say these things are 100%, but yeah, there's definitely something to it. I mean, I wish I had more time to look at this stuff, but unfortunately I'm working full time. I've got a missus and a family, so can't dedicate as much time as I'd like to, but certainly interesting nevertheless.
Other potential stooges.
Does Jim Carrey play Joe Biden part of the time? And I'm not talking Saturday Night Live, I'm talking real life. By the end of this video, I think if you don't think so right now, there might be a little part, at least a little part of you that just might agree with me. Let's start with this. We all know he is a physical comedian, but just watch this.
Options were limited.
You won't be seeing much more physical humor in my show. I want to go way back now. This will be...
Okay, so you get the idea. He falls a lot. He falls a lot for comedy. But did you ever notice who else falls a lot? And hey, they kind of look alike. Like, in fact, that might even look a little bit more like Jim Carrey then Jim Carrey looks like Jim Carrey in this. But that's Joe Biden, I'll show you. It sure looks a lot like Jim Carrey to me, and that's supposed to be Biden getting off the helicopter. They even have similar walks and forward head postures. Do you see it? I see it. Similar length arms in comparison to their knees. And we know how Hollywood likes to put things in plain sight. We also know they do a ton of predictive programming. This Simpsons was 15 years before this, even to the sign falling down. Predictive programming.
I'm free on the 7th. That's 7.
Did you see it? I saw one thing at first. Watch the timing of his hand. His hands, and then watch. You'll see it. Watch, I sync it up here. Ready? There it is. Watch. Yep. And the hands. Timed up at the same time, the hands at the same time. That's Jim Carrey. That is Jim Carrey. I'm going to show you more. Okay, here it is, the full clip. You'll see he salutes and he puts his hand up twice, just like we saw in the movie Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey. And then tell me this isn't Jim Carrey's comedic falling. There's no way Joe Biden is this quick on his feet and moves. And watch how he does this little jog. This salute at the end here, it is Jim Carrey. And I'm going to show you more still. Did you ever see this clip where it looks like Biden's wearing a mask? Again, truth in plain sight. We all know that he did the movie The Mask. Could they have been trying to tell us something? I think so. Literally the first time I ever saw that clip of Biden going up the stairs, I thought to myself, before I was even a truther, wow, he moves just like Jim Carrey going up there. And then I looked into it, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. You decide. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
So this is one that I got told about by one of my followers under one of my other posts. Tommy Robinson, the anti-Islam activist campaigner, and Imam Wasim Kempton. And I mean, honestly, there's not many times when I get told about these matches that make me do a double take or go, what the heck. But yeah, this was definitely one of them. Yeah, I know Tommy Robinson's content. Yeah, Wasim Kempton, never heard of him before, but kind of would make sense. Like, that is the sort of mockery and trolling that takes place when it comes to actor-based reality. On one hand, you've got like an anti-Islam campaigner, on the other hand you've got an imam. So, you know, they love polarity, they love the polar opposites, and of course they love a bit of mockery as well. This is one of those ones where I knew who one guy was but didn't know the other, so obviously when I looked up the pictures of the imam, I was pretty blown away actually by the resemblance. And I've got a voice clip coming up here now, and you'll see and hear actually it's a very good resemblance with the voice as well.
So in October 1994, that's when I accepted Islam, alhamdulillah. What led up to that? Well, it's a story that kind of goes for about a year.
Stood up in the town centre and I read out my leaflet and said to the police, we've had enough of the heroin, we've had enough of the violence, we've had enough of the terrorism. We've done a homecoming parade after 12 months to Luton. It cost them £2 million to police it. Yeah? I said, I can guarantee you, I know Theresa May sitting at the time as Home Secretary, probably watching these live events. Okay, this is big.
I expect there might be some anger at this video, because I know Tommy's supporters are very loyal and dedicated, and he's one of those Marmite characters. Again, you either love him or hate him, but as I say with all these videos, I'm not saying this is 100% true or 100% fact, simply presenting the matchups and yeah, letting you decide and make your own minds up on it. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good matchup, and as I said, wouldn't surprise me.
The whole world's a stage and you're in the audience, and everything you see on the stage is fraudulent.